And good evening. Welcome to City Focus. I'm Marty Olsen, your host, and tonight I'm delighted to welcome back beloved Grace Carter to the set and to be my guest this evening. And beloved is the Republican candidate for mayor of the city of New London. Election day is next Tuesday, November 7th. And welcome.
Thank you so much, Marty. It's my pleasure to be here. It's good to see you.
And good to see you as well. And I know you've been out and about working hard, and
Yes.
This is the last program before the election, so I thought it was a good opportunity for you to have the last crack at it here to state your case and why you're running and why folks should pull your lever, as they say.
My lever, yes, absolutely. Well, I don't think I've said anything different throughout the entire campaign for my love for New London, my passion to see the very best for New London. And also, I've had time to think about it. As I said in my article in the newspaper, I'm not a politician. I'm a people person, but I'm more of a stateswoman. You know, politicians are concerned about the next election, but I'm concerned about the next generation. So that's why I'm very passionate in what I'm doing, and I'm determined to see this through.
Well, I hope that you achieve tremendous success, and we'll have I would say a monumental upset here next week, and see you have success. Now, this past Saturday, you were the hostess of a big basketball tournament up at New London High School. Why don't you talk about that? I had a chance to stop in early, but how many kids were involved and about putting that together? And you had a lot of volunteers who were helping you out. Looked like a good event.
It was a very good event. It was, I thank Coach David Dixon. He just came out of the woodwork. It was an idea by one of my team members, actually my secretary, Judy Carlo. She suggested we do this back in the end of August, beginning of September, she suggested. And we tried to do it in September, but every weekend was rainy. So we approached the Parks and Rec, and they said yes, we could use the high school. So we did just that. And like I said, I was able to meet Coach Dixon. He has tremendous success with the youth around the city, running basketball camps and tournaments, and a lot of championships for the little ones. So he was a perfect fit for our team. We planned it, and we did a lot of leg work. Coca-Cola, if I'm able to mention that, they donated to us. Mr. G's Pizza, Ocean Pizza was pizzas and grinders, and Rod, who's no longer in our city, which I'm very sad about that, Rod's Hot Wings. Yep. They donated 100 hot wings. It was just phenomenal. It was phenomenal how we were received, and everyone was behind the tournament. The kids came out in droves. The last group were the high school children, 16 to 19. Well, the people on the cover of our flyer, 3 of them were my grandchildren. Well, 2 was my grandson, 1 was my great-grandson. And so they were the champions from St. Bernard's last year. So when the word went out that you would be playing against the champs, a lot of the teenagers said, we're not playing against them. They beat us before. But we did have a couple teams come out, and it was wonderful. It was wonderful. We had the police chief come, and then yourself, you came, and we're really happy to see you. We had quite a good turnout. A lot of food.
That's marvelous. I mean, it looked like you had some nice trophies for the winning squads.
We did, yes. Our trophies were donated to us by another organization that is aligned with Coach David. So he was able to do that for us. And the kids they had a great time. It was fun to be back in the community on a basketball court, watching the kids play. I try to shoot a few hoops myself.
There you go. Well, I think that's terrific that you were able to initiate a youth-oriented community event. I think that's marvelous, and I think it speaks volumes of you and your focus and what you're trying to accomplish. So, however things turn out next week, I think you provided a terrific community service, and you should be proud of that.
Well, I'm proud of the people who just stepped up and did a great job, bringing time, talent, and treasure. And we just had a great time. It was a wonderful time. I thank New London High School and its maintenance people. They were right there for us. If we needed anything, they were perfect, right on the spot to help us. So it was really good. And one of the students asked me, one of the youngest students, Miss Carter, are you doing this every year? I said, absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, that's good. So you've initiated something good, and you're not in recent years. I think COVID threw a big curveball into it, but I mean, Matt and his wife were sponsoring a tournament,
Yes.
Robinson tournament
Yes.
at Putnam, Maine for a number of years.
That's right.
And I know that my Kiwanis Club supported that
Yes.
tournament, and that was always very well attended. A lot of kids participated.
They did, yes.
I think it's in the family.
It's in the family, it's in the blood. My son Matt played basketball for New London and professional ball in Europe and semi-pro ball here. And by the way, Abby says to tell you hello, and she loves you. They're sorry they couldn't be here. They now live in Texas.
Yeah, well, that's, and we miss them, but I hope that they're doing well, and
They
please
are.
send my regards.
I will do that, yes.
Now, how have you found this campaign to be? I mean, you were nominated for to be the Republican standard bearer back in July, and you had reached out to me well before that, expressing an interest in running for this office.
Yes.
And perhaps you could share with us how this experience has been. I mean, what have you learned? What are the people in the community telling you that's important, that maybe you're picking up things that you had never considered before, or maybe you're sharing things that you're bringing to the table that folks don't know about you?
Well, Marty, I love to listen to the community. I still do the breakfast program, and I have my thumb on the pulse of that population, people who are seeing worse days. They're seeing the really bad days. The message is still the same, whether they're unable to find housing, or they've been overlooked for vouchers and housing, or their taxes are too high. I speak to everyone. I talk to everyone. This luxury housing coming in, there are complaints about that. What about the neighborhoods? What about families? So I'm hearing a lot of that sort of thing.
Yeah, well, the apartments that the mayor has been pushing very, very hard for, I mean, it's pure gentrification. I mean, they're not responding to the needs of New Londoners. They're looking for people who are coming in from the outside.
Exactly. I will say this to you, that the way I put it before, it's like me inviting you to my house and saying, please come into my home, make yourself comfortable, but you can't go in my kitchen or my bathroom because I haven't cleaned it. So it's the same thing I see in New London, that we're inviting all these new people in to the luxury housing, but we're not fixing up Press Street or Mountain Avenue or Shore Street. Don't go down there, they say, or don't go downtown at night. Get out of downtown at night. So I say, take care of home first. Let's build up our neighborhoods. Let's fix up the housing and stop tearing down the family housing. What happens when these young people decide, well, EB paid good for a while, but I want to go somewhere else. So we're left with all these one-bedroom luxury apartments. You're not going to tear out a wall and make a two-bedroom for a family. So I think we really need to rethink this going forward. There are apartments are now built. So it's not really anything we can really do about that, but I really think we need to take a fresh look at what we're doing and where we're going, and who we're trying to impress, who we're trying to take care of in our city. This whole city is one community. That's how I feel about it. So if I'm poor on the north side and you don't care on the south side, then we're all poor. You're poor in compassion, and we're just poor financially. So I think we need to look at the community as a whole and not make unilateral decisions that exclude people. You called it gentrification, and then true to the fact that it is of a sort. But I really feel like it's not just color gentrification. I think it's socioeconomic. I think it's, like I said, the haves and the have-nots. The people on, say, south of the hospital, they need to know what people like on the north side. And we work together to make a better community for everyone.
Yeah, well, New London's small. I mean, we're only 6 square miles. And
Yes.
So if there's a hiccup or a cough in any part of town, it
affects-
reverberates across the entire community.
Absolutely. I've met some of the finest people at our meet and greets, and people who feel very much the same way I do. It's not fair what's going on in this city. For, the entire community should come together and make sure the needs are taken care of. And I tell you, we're better together than we are apart. We all have something to contribute. We've always had something to contribute to New London. We talked about our cultural side of New London, arts and culture. Well, even our athletes, we've turned out phenomenal athletes. We have, I think his name was, oh goodness, I can't think of his name offhand, but the artist, he came from Goodnight, Paul Goodnight, just amazing artists. We have wonderful artists and musicians and athletes to come together to see that everyone is recognized and needs are met, I just think we need to do a better job at taking away the lines of division and coming together and really listen to each other, asking those tough questions, and demanding better. People ask me, what am I going to do to fix New London? And I say, what are we going to do? I can't do it without you. I need to hear what you have to say. And together we can make a difference. We have to.
Yeah. Well, that's why I say in regards to the new housing, that with gentrification, I think it's as you outlined, socioeconomic. I'm not looking at it as a race-based thing. It's, but I think they're being primarily marketed towards young professionals, perhaps electric boat engineers.
Yes.
And these are younger folks that are single or young couples, but they don't have children.
Exactly.
And, what are we doing to keep these young folks
Exactly.
in our community, especially if they get attached and start having families? Because we've got a school system that is not performing at an optimal level.
Absolutely.
And these folks will have choices. And are they going to stay here, or are they going to relocate to other communities in the region for educational opportunities that they can afford?
Exactly. Or they could live here.
And the backbone of the community is going to be these young professionals if they stay. Because here's your pool of people who are going to be your scout leaders and coaches and things of that nature.
Right.
And I worry that we're gambling on a potentially transient population.
And that's exactly the word that I've used, transient. You mentioned about the school system. I did some research, and shockingly, the number of students that are at risk of not graduating is 42%, New London High School.
That's staggering.
It is. It's horrible. The Board of Education, City Council, we need to talk. There has to be some accountability. I'm not, throwing hardballs at anybody, but I want to know, what are we doing? What are we talking about? What are we looking at? Let's see what you have in mind for our children. Like you said, we may end up with a transient population. They may live here, but they may send their kids to a private school in Stonington. That's not the answer. That's not the answer. We have to come together, and we have to be honest and lay our cards on the table as to what we're doing. What are you doing in your corner? What's going on in your office? And as the new mayor of New London, I will visit every department. We will have a talk. I want to know exactly what your plans are. What is your vision? Does it fit in the vision of the entire city? If not, let's make some changes. Let's work together. Every single department. I plan on sitting down, and we're going to have a conversation.
Have you had an opportunity to debate the incumbent mayor?
No, sir, I have not. There was one scheduled. There was a debate scheduled. at All Souls Church probably 2-3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the entire Democratic incumbents didn't show up.
So it's going to be with the council and the mayor, all the candidates?
None of the incumbents, yes, the council, the mayor, none of them showed up for this debate. Some of them, I heard, well, at least a couple, did reply back and say, I will not be attending, I have to decline. And some didn't bother to even answer. So I think that really shows...
What sense of arrogance?
Well, arrogance, but I say it shows to ordinary people like you and me, we live in this city, you don't care about what I'm concerned about. You don't want to take the time to do it. Campaigning is not, convenient for anyone. This is not for convenience. And there is sacrifice involved. So if you elected me 8 years ago, 4 years ago, whatever the case may be, you should know by now that the power of my vote can put you back there or take you out. And if you don't show that you care about what I care about, at least willing to listen, then it's time to make a change. It's time to make a change.
And as you have been canvassing the city over these past few months, what are people telling you? 'Cause I'm sure you've spoken to many, many, many people.
Yes, I have.
From all walks of life and different corners of the city. Is there anything of a unified type of message, or are there things that are more singular in nature? What's on people's minds?
Marty, what's on people's minds is everything that you hear. I believe that every candidate, incumbent or otherwise, they know what the issues are. They really do. I hear everything from these wind turbines out here,
Yep.
to affordable housing. Why is the Fair Rent Commission not up and running as it was supposed to be months ago? Why are they holding off electing or appointing, say, Gina Phillips, the one person that did step forward as a landlord, a very active member of our community, owning a business and being a resident here, caring about this community enough to say, I'll take my time and I will be on this commission to see to that my community members get what they need. I hear a lot of that. I hear a lot of what's going on with this roundabout at the high school. I hear a lot about the grades at the London High School, Board of Education type things. I talk to everyone and they say the same thing. Beloved, your campaign is very non-traditional, and I like what you have to say. And people who are crossing party lines to say, I'm going to vote for you, because it's not about, I'll put it this way in a more positive light, it's about values and truth. That's what we vote on. That's what we should be voting on, not parties. Oh, I've always been a Democrat or always been a whatever, Republican. It's about vote your values. If you love this city, you have an idea about what you want to see here. If you care about this city, there's been a lot of apathy because our voices are going unheard, unheeded, and decisions are being made that do not include what we care about. So people now are listening.
I think you're really touching a lot of folks that in that constituency, and I'm hoping that they will come out and support you, because if they do, you have an opportunity to create quite a surprise.
Yes, I plan on it. That's my prayer, because win or lose, and I'll just be very honest, win or lose, I'm not going anywhere. You're going to see me everywhere just like you have, and I'm still going to be asking the same questions and speaking to everyone who'll speak with me, and I'll be very active at the city council meetings, speaking up like I've been doing. When things are wrong, they're wrong. And if you have the power to change them, you should change them, regardless of what your loyalties are.
Yeah. Well, one thing, you had touched on it at the top of the program regarding public safety. In the central business district, we're losing business. I mean, Rod Cornish has picked up
Yes.
and moved to Niantic. And,
Oh my.
I mean, and there's a business that appeared to be doing exceptionally well. It was what I would call a destination, one of the few in downtown New London, where people
Exactly.
would come from out of the community to the community and go to his restaurant, Hot Rods.
Yeah.
Very, very popular.
Yeah.
And to lose a business of that type is a blow to the community. And why is that happening? And I don't think our leadership understands.
Well, if I may be so blunt, and I hope that Rod will allow me this grace, but he did say that when he made the announcement that he was leaving, no one came to him and said, we'll miss you, thank you so much for what you've done to the community. And that's a blow, you know. He did. He kept his place open, and even after pandemic, he kept his employees working, sometimes taking money out of his own pocket to meet, you know, the payroll. This is a man whose family's been in New London for a very long time. He absolutely loves New London, but business started slacking off because of what you just said. Yes, it was a destination place, but you can only do so much yourself if there's not other businesses supporting you. We do this together. Maybe someone comes into town, they want to go to a gift shop that's not there right now, off the ferry, you know, and they happen to hear like, hey, where's a good place to eat? Have some beer and some wings or whatever. They would point them to Rod's.
Yeah.
But
there may be,
we
but
support each
I
other.
don't know of a specific place in town where you can buy New London stuff.
No, there isn't.
Whether it's a T-shirt or a hat
Yeah.
or one of those snow things for your Christmas time, or
Exactly.
ledge light, whatever it may
Exactly.
be.
And that's what I'm talking about. As a business owner, you cannot do it yourself in the community. You need the support of other businesses with offering different things. It's like upselling. You know, if they come into town looking for one thing, someone says, "Hey, would you ever check that shop out down there?" We need that downtown. The downtown is a ghost town, and as far as it being a hip, upcoming city, that's a bunch of bunk. There's still a lot of empty spaces there. There's still a lot of owners who live out of town, who have these businesses. They just keep them first floor, empty space, total disrepair, maybe have apartments upstairs, but not willing to put the money into fixing these places up because they get a tax break for having them empty. You know, so that's unfair to the city. That's unfair to the taxpayers. We're shouldering the brunt of the taxes because a person from another state does not want to do what it's supposed to do to help New London.
Yep.
You know, I think there should be some kind of penalty for that. I really do.
Do you feel that public safety and police presence downtown, or even in the city in general, is there a big enough presence, or is it the current status quo meeting our needs?
Well, as I said earlier, the police chief did come to our event. He stayed quite a while, and he showed me a picture of the third shift officers that were on duty. I'm not sure if 6 or 8 of them. Really impressive picture that they were out in force. And I told him, I said, I like that very much. I think there should be more foot patrolmen, absolutely. Just the presence, not as a negative thing, but as a deterrent. Let's keep honest people honest, you know? I think that there's violence everywhere. A lot of people are under pressure, and mental pressure, a lot of people. I think that, for instance, we had the Halloween town downtown.
Yep.
And there were, I think I saw maybe 3 police officers, none of them down the far end of the pier. All of them at the beginning by the train station, just kind of at their cruiser.
Yep.
Maybe 3. But we were down, our crew, and so many other people were down the other end. There was not a police officer down there, none came down there, which to me was kind of frightening because we just had that massacre go on in Maine. So we have to be situationally aware. You know, we can't act as though business as usual I think we need to up our presence. The police need to up their presence downtown and in other areas. There's certain areas of town, I think Black Hall Street would be one of them. If you know it's a pretty high crime area or a lot of drugs there, why is there not more police presence there? Why is there not better lighting there? People have to walk through that neighborhood to get to where they're going. I think there should be better lighting there. And I know at certain places that there's crime, a lot more crime, and opportunity for crime. The lighting is terrible. There should be better lighting down there, you know? So to answer your question, yeah, we definitely need more police presence.
And where I'm going with this, I mean, and I like your observation and what you see as potential solutions is to commit the finances and the manpower to accomplish your goals.
Absolutely, yes. I really think that I'm not against the police department. I think that the law is for the lawless. To protect the innocent. I think we used to have it on on the police vehicles to protect and serve. I don't see that anymore. I wonder what the vision for this is for now, you know. But to protect and to serve is absolutely the best motto I've heard, and they need to bring that back because that's what they're called to do, you know. So, again, I'm not against the police department, but wrong is wrong. And if we need the presence, we need to have the presence there. Like I said, as a deterrent, if nothing else.
Yeah. Well, one thing I think that's important is that in order to engender folks' feeling of safety is when you're in the downtown areas that there are, I would promote walking patrols,
Yes.
even more than bike patrols.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's important that folks who live there and are visiting there see the police. It's not important for the police to see you or me or whomever,
Mm-hmm.
that we see them. We
Exactly.
know that they're there.
Mm-hmm.
And having that comfort level that there's somebody down there keeping an eye on things and we're not
Exactly.
alone.
Exactly. That's a really good observation, Marty. I'll say this, that as you were speaking, I was looking at State Street, all the way down State Street, down Bank Street, and this other side street. New London is very walkable downtown. I love it. I love walking down there, especially on summer nights.
Sure.
You know, you just want to just take the kids or the grandkids and just walk around, go down to the pier. But you're kind of dissuaded, if you will, from doing that if you don't see a police officer, you know. I think that walking patrols is absolutely necessary for our city because it's such a beautiful city and it is very walkable.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
we have this trail that we talked about, you know, touting this great trail.
New London has tremendous assets
It does.
that I think that we don't do a very good job promoting or working together to encourage folks to visit us. I mean, we've got a number of historical locations.
Absolutely, yeah.
Boston has their Freedom Trail,
Mm-hmm.
and New London could have its Whale Trail or whatever you want to call it. I mean, I know that we've got a relatively new Black historical
Yep, like
trail.
Heritage Trail, yeah.
But we have, for instance, the mill under the bridge, and you've got Nathan Hale School, and we've got the Shaw Mansion, and the Custom House, and the Hempstead House,
Mm-hmm.
etc. And why these aren't tied together in a little walking tour, as you would say, and people could come into town knowing that they could spend a half a day to a day enjoying this seashore community.
Yeah, I think
And
that's
the historical
awesome.
thing. I mean, nobody's going to come to town to visit Nathan Hale School alone.
Mm-hmm.
It's a
Exactly.
one-room schoolhouse. You're in and you're out.
Exactly.
But if you can tie it in, the ancient cemetery, there's just like I say,
Mhm.
there's Whale Oil Row, the
Exactly.
courthouse at the top of State. And it goes on and on. Fort Trumbull,
Exactly.
it's all here.
Unfortunately, I don't know if the right hand knows what the left hand's doing. Everyone wants to do their own thing. And that's basically why I say, you know, a united New London. That's every part of it, everything you're saying. Yes, people want to come to downtown to Nathan Hale School, but there aren't any stores down there. One thing I noticed when we had the food stroll,
Yep.
we were on Golden Street with our giving out, you know, our information, campaign information plus free popcorn,
Yep.
and just talking to the people. Tremendous amount of Conn College students came by, loved it. It was just wonderful to talk with them, and a lot of people came from out of state. I was really surprised. They came annually to the food stroll because they love it, but they said, "Why aren't the stores open?" They couldn't understand it. Different parts of Connecticut, a person from Pennsylvania, another person from Florida, they come back here, home, to
Sure.
you know, to the food stroll, and they're just like, there aren't any stores open. Why are the stores closed? Why are the cafes closed? You know, during this event. Again, we have to work together. We cannot stand alone. These businesses cannot stand alone. They need the help of the other businesses. We need to encourage. I think I heard one of the candidates say, Republican candidates say, let's move people out of the cottage business into the brick and mortar downtown. You know, we have talented people, wonderful chefs, wonderful craftspeople that are doing some business out of their homes or out of the back of a truck or whatever. Let's get them downtown with their wares, you know, get them in brick and mortar. Make it easier for them to have a place of their own. You know, the record shop, the Telegraph,
Yep.
it's struggling because it doesn't have a lot of supporting businesses. Same thing with Rod. He says his business was down, you know, substantially since pandemic, but he hung in here as long as he could. We need to really honor our business people and be grateful that they chose to live out their passion in our city. And we need to help them instead of making it difficult for them to open their own business.
That's absolutely correct. I think you're on the right track. I think folks are listening and hearing you, that they will see somebody who's got the vim and vigor to tackle these things and make some positive change.
That's my vision. That's one of my visions. I have a lot of them, but that's one of my main visions, to see New London thriving. I was here back in the day. I won't tell you how far back, but back in the day, when we had shoe stores and clothing stores and, you know, all kinds of shops downtown and roundabout. But it's not so right now, and there's no reason why.
Yeah, well, I had the privilege the year I served as mayor. We had an overnight trip of community leaders, politicians and stuff that took a bus trip to, it was sponsored by New London Main Street, and Tony Silvestri at the time was kind of the ringleader to make this happen, where we traveled to Newburyport, Massachusetts, Portsmouth, New Hampshire, and Portland, Maine. And the common link was that these were all waterfront communities that had some level of urban renewal, and how they were making out, what they were doing, their successes and things of this nature. And Newburyport's a bit of an outlier because that's kind of a very upscale. For better or worse, I mean, London's kind of a gritty town. I mean, we're not Mystic. For those folks who would like to say, well, why can't you be like Mystic? Because we're not. We're
not, absolutely. We have our own flavor.
We're New London, and we should be proud of what we have and work with it. But Portsmouth and Portland, Maine, both have had renaissances that have been really a marvel, and a lot of it is their historic downtown waterfronts are comprised of small kind of niche type of businesses, kind of like a Studio 33, which Sarah Monroe runs, but every storefront's filled with something of that nature. I mean, you're not going to get Walmart in downtown New London, and we don't really want Walmart in downtown New
Absolutely
London.
not.
That's not, as an example, but in order to fill and that requires people who are willing to invest not just money, but an exceptional amount of time and commitment, a passion.
Absolutely.
And it's up to the community leaders to pull it together and have that vision for what we as a community want. And that seems to get lost all the time.
Exactly. Well, there's a saying, Marty, in the Bible. He says, without a vision, the people perish. There has to be a vision for a person, for their lives, a community. There has to be a vision. So I'll tell you one of mine. That's a Frontier building, downtown New London.
Yep.
My question is, why is downtown New London and the surrounding area a food desert? There is Fiddleheads, a little, on the pricey side. Everybody can't shop there because it's very pricey.
It's got there, but it's a fresh market of sorts.
Exactly.
It's not designed for economy. It's designed, as you say, it's designed for kind of a higher end.
Exactly. So why not take the Frontier building and put a real grocery store in, not a bodega, but a real grocery store that has fresh food in it. If you look around downtown New London and the surrounding areas, even Hodges Square, they have this store down there that's less than desirable at times. Supermarket's been there forever. But if you look around, a lot of convenience stores are opening. So what do you buy in convenience stores? Salty and sweet and alcohol, Why not have
That's
a
the
real
worst place to be shopping for groceries.
Well, if you have no
Talk about
transportation,
expensive. That's expensive.
Yes, if you have no vehicle, there's buses, but who wants to get on a bus? And no matter what your source of income is, you end up spending a lot of money, and you don't get healthy food. You don't get healthy food. Why not have a beautiful and healthy store downtown New London? We have all these young people coming down to, downtown, moving downtown, business people. Why not have a healthy store? People coming who live in the Mohegan, you don't have transportation because there's no parking. Hempstead High Rise, I guess
Yep.
is another name for it. Unless you take some of your cash or your food stamps and you need some milk or eggs, you go to Fiddleheads. Wonderful store, but it's more expensive than what you can't shop there every week if you have a limited budget, So why not have a grocery store downtown? There's 60 parking spaces beneath the building, and there's a parking lot in the back. Why not have a grocery store there?
No, that's it needs somebody to recruit and make it shake and make it happen. That was one of the things regarding that trip I was just referring to. In Portland, Maine, in their economic development office, they had a paid staffer whose job it was to go out into other places and recruit. Come out with a dossier of what Portland brings to the table and say, well, we think you'd be a good fit in our community.
Yes.
Why don't you come up and give us a look, because we think you'd be a good fit, and here's what we offer. Whether it's schools, whether it's investments, this, that, and the other thing, entertainment, theater, culture, whatever it may be that they're offering that would be appealing to encourage folks to come. And that's something that I have suggested since that time, and it's never taken hold here in New London. We're a bit more passive, waiting for people to come to us.
Exactly.
And then you're left with what others are bringing to the table and not necessarily what you're looking for.
So true. It's very true. And you're right. I think we do need fresh ideas, fresh vision. And I think as a community, we can come together and we can talk about these ideas and we can cast a vision and just invite people in on it. Not just developers to come in and buy up our historic buildings and do their thing, but people, like you said, let them come to us, but us go to them and say, hey, look, like you did going to Portsmouth, Maine. I want to see what you have to offer. Maybe you can bring some of that back here, you know?
Yeah,
So I love that. That's a great idea.
I think so.
You know?
And to work and take advantage of the assets that we have right at our fingertips. I mean, we're a college town that's not a
Yes,
college
yes.
town. You know, we've got the beautiful Ocean Beach Park that is not maximizing its opportunities as it did. At least
Many
when
of
I
them.
was growing up as a young teenager and a lifeguard at the beach, I mean, that place was hopping all the time, all
was,
summer.
yes,
And, you know, I mean, it has its moments now. And Dave Shagru, who's the general manager down there, worked very, very hard. And Jeff Mullen, who operates the rides in the arcade,
Yes.
are doing the best that they can. But I don't necessarily see a significant amount of support from the city.
Well, you know, I think that you're right. We have to utilize the assets that we have. We have some real good drawing points. We have to utilize those, you know, to the best of our ability. If that means getting fresh ideas, then fresh ideas it is. But yeah, the beach is beautiful. It's one of the best beaches in America, I guess.
I think so.
Yeah, but again, we have to have a fresh vision. We have to cast a fresh vision for New London, and to use what we have, our own flavor. Like you said, we're not Mystic, and we're not, you know,
We're not
someplace else.
Newport, we're New London.
We're New London, exactly. And I think too, even we should do more with the athletes we have. You know, more recognition, more places to go and say, hey, this person came from New London. That person came from New London. You know, we have we have baseball players, football players, basketball players. We should, you know, really, really show that we have a diverse and wonderful, you know, community here.
Yep. You know, one thing I wanted to mention before the program ends is that over the last half year or so, this program, each week, the gentlemen who are running in the back room, they're doing a great job getting this program up on YouTube. So that it's not just tonight that we're live, but it gets up on YouTube and it's there forever.
Yes.
And the reason I bring this up is that out of all the programs I've done that have been on YouTube, the one that's had the most views, I will say, I mean, it happened to be with Coach Craig Chop Parker.
Yes.
But number 2 was my interview with you,
Oh, really?
which indicates to me that the people in the community are interested in you and who you are and what you have to say. And that they were
Thank you.
tuning in on YouTube because they didn't pick it up live because they want to know more about you. And I'm getting positive feedback on the street about your campaign. And I hope
Thank
that
you.
you're getting positive
I am,
feedback. because
absolutely.
I think people are looking for an alternative. I think there's I think our current government across the board is highly insulated, and they are not very responsive to the public. They are jamming things through with, they're not using 3 readings and giving the public an opportunity to contribute and participate. They're just doing stuff.
It's called rubber stamping.
That's correct. And that's not healthy for our community.
It is not. It is not. It's counterproductive. As I said before, I'll see to it that there won't be any rubber stamping. We're not doing that anymore. You know, that's not helping our community, as you just now said. Also, I really believe in a bipartisan rule. You know, I think that every party has something to say and something to contribute if they're looking at the betterment and for what's best for New London. No more one-party rule. You know, I'm looking into every department. I intend to look into every department. There has to be accountability. There has to be accountability in every department for this city to function its maximum and for all people involved. I was very surprised that, again, to go back, I was very surprised that no one came, none of the incumbents showed up, because it's an opportunity for the community to learn. It's an opportunity for them to voice how they're feeling about things, even get some understanding across the board. I was pleased that there were a lot of youth there. Actually, on the panel, there were youth, and I loved it. It was just thrilling to see and to listen to their questions and their concerns for their future in this city. We want to keep our young people here. We don't want them moving away, you know? So I was very pleased that they pretty much ran the whole debate.
Well, that's good. I mean, I'm glad that for those who showed, so you showed, and Aaron Ide, our one of our council candidates,
Yes.
and Gina Phillips.
Yes.
Did John Russell make an appearance?
Well, Gina Phillips was not able to make the appearance, but Aaron I did, and Leon.
He's running on the Green Party ticket.
Yes, yes, he came, and a gentleman named, last name Hart. He came also.
Okay.
Another woman, Shanice, I think her name is, but nobody from the Democratic incumbents came. And the young people were disappointed. They were very disappointed because they had questions and they needed answers and they needed to be heard. And this is what we were able to do for them, to listen to them. This is what their concerns or what their fears were. You know, even questions like, well, I'm first generation coming into this country, or second, my parents came in as immigrants. What would you do? What do you want to offer them as new people coming into the country? I said, well, we need to get back to the welcome wagon. You know, we need to get back to a place where people visit you and tell you, hey, listen, here's our services. Do you need anything? What could we help you with to get acclimated, you know, to our community? And the young man was so very pleased to hear that people were wanting to reach out to his family and other people like him. So we need to do that, you know. One person said people need to get acclimated to, adjusted to our way of doing things, not us getting used to the way they do things. Well, it goes both ways. People have a lot to bring and not to offer here in New London.
Sure.
You know, so.
Well, this is, I think, a terrific opportunity for the community next Tuesday to exercise their right to vote and,
Absolutely.
and to hopefully make some positive change and shake things up a little bit. I think our ticket has got some quality candidates.
Yes.
With you at the helm as running for mayor. And with Aaron Ide and Gina Phillips.
Yes.
And John Russell.
And John Martin.
John Martin running for
Yes.
school board, along with Kat Goulart.
Yes.
And I think everybody brings something very positive to the table, and it's a good, diverse mix of individuals, and backgrounds, and ideas. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's something that gets lost in the shuffle, is that in New London, that the Republican Party brings a diversity of thought and a diversity of ideas and diversity of representation throughout the community.
But they have one thing in common that they bring, a love for New London. And
How about that?
And that's why I love being on this team. And I call it a team because that's exactly what we are. We're doing this together. We know that together we can make the change that's needed for New London. And I'm just very excited about being part of this Republican team.
Well, you've represented, I mean, over the course of this campaign, from one who's ran for many campaigns, I mean, you've represented yourself and your party and I think the community very, very well. I sincerely hope that you achieve success and next Tuesday, and it would be for the betterment of our community. And as I think I noted to you when you started, I mean, that this will be it's a bit of a grind. It can be hard work, but you'll learn. You'll meet a lot of people.
That's right.
And
you did
to have
say
some
that.
fun.
You did say that. I've had a lot of fun. I met a lot of wonderful people throughout the entire New London, you know, and I wouldn't have done anything differently. You know, you say it's hard work, but it is fun.
Yeah, and I know that, I mean, I've had the privilege of serving 10 years on the city council over the course of many years, and I've loved it immensely. It's been a good experience. I've enjoyed serving, and you know, like I said, I wish you and the other candidates on our ticket to have to achieve success, which will in turn create a little bit of balance that you've just outlined in our community, in our government, which would be for the betterment.
Absolutely. It's been my pleasure.
Very good. Well, we're getting down to the last minute or two here in the program. Is there anything that you'd like to share with the audience that perhaps we haven't touched on before we run out of time?
Well, you're always very thorough and quite the gentleman, so it's my pleasure to be invited back in. And I hope that you would please join us in our victory party, November 7th. But really, I'm excited about New London, what's going on in New London right now, because we're turning over rocks. We're turning over, and we're making a difference.
Yeah. Well, I'm moderator at the Nathan Hale School in District 3 on Election Day, so I have a job to do, but we'll see if I get out early enough. If the numbers are in, we can come down and have a victory toast.
Sounds good.
But with that, I want to say thank you. It's been a pleasure.
My pleasure, Marty.
And we'll have you back after the election, and we can discuss looking back and looking forward.
I love it.
Folks, you've been watching City Focus. I'm Marty Olsen, your host, and we'll see you next time. Good night.